Hello and welcome to Robin's TV Extra Time as we reflect on the seven-side derby between Cardiff City and Bristol City, a fixture Bristol City haven't won in their last four, but of course Cardiff are threatening the relegation zone. Bristol City now with renewed hope of pushing into those playoff positions, but who came out on top? Well, in the studio alongside me to reflect on the intensity and hostilities that come with a fixture such as this, Leroy Rossignol and Lewis Carey. Thank you both very much for joining me once again. Lewis, you were on commentary for the game. Frustrating in the end. Bristol City got their noses in front in a game that was kind of void of too many highlights. Looked as though they were going to see it out, but ultimately Cardiff prevailed in the end.
I think that's a great assumption. You know, we were waiting for the hostility of the crowd, weren't we? But the first half was so dead. You know, it was a lot of fouls, a lot of free kicks, a lot of ball out of play time, waiting for something to happen, waiting for somebody to make something happen. And I thought the game was just really slow first half. No tackles, no energy, no running forward, no really great ball possession or anything. And then second half, Cardiff started really, really well. The crowd got upbeat, and all of a sudden a little bit of magic from Hirakawa when he came on with a brilliant delivery and a brilliant header from the free kick, and sort of game changed then. And you know, we then got the atmosphere and everything that we were all looking for second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And Leroy, if we look at the statistics from the game, it suggests that Cardiff were on top, really. And they probably were for the most part. I think that possession is probably what we anticipated. But Bristol City, it felt, certainly towards the end of that second half, that they were in control.
In terms of possession, yeah, Aaron Ramsey came on and just calmed everything down for them when he got on the ball. And that doesn't surprise me in the possession. You know, we looked at the possession stats from the weekend game against Stoke, and they were more or less the same as that. But then City managed the game, and that's what they tried to do at 1-0. But I just felt Cardiff had a little bit more with Colwell and Ramsey. I was a little bit more wide when they had the ball, because they were not only passing forward but running forward. Colwell, when he gets in, dribbles forward as well, takes players out of the game, and we managed just to nullify that on a few occasions. So I was a little bit more concerned when they had the ball. And you look at that, only 4 shots on target for City, that'd be disappointed. And look, even though Cardiff had all that possession, they only had 6 shots. But you know, the duels, it was the first game, Lewis is absolutely right, it was tepid, and it was all about those duels, 52 to 45, and most of those duels were done by Sinclair Armstrong against his centre half Gutas. He had a good centre half, good first half against Gutas, but kind of just faded in the second.
Yeah, whether it's my Bristol City bias talking, it felt as though the quality of those chances was certainly in Bristol City's favour, but there weren't too many in the first half whatsoever. Sykes had an opportunity for the Reds, but it really came to life, the game, I'd say, in the second half. But you felt as though, Leroy, probably Cardiff started the stronger.
Yeah, I did. I thought they started the much brighter, and you'd expect that. They're at home, they're the ones who need the points, and they kept on putting that towards the far post. On a couple of occasions, El Ghazi got above Hayden Roberts at the far post. They don't get tight enough. There's a 3-against-2 situation here from the throw-in, which City need to do better at. And he does well enough, Roberts, just to use his body, just to lean into him. But I was just a little bit concerned because, you know, El Ghazi does get the wrong side to him, but the ball's just a little bit behind El Ghazi. He has to arch his net back and he can't get the header on target.
I think you said, Lewis, as well, just off air, you felt as though Hayden Roberts was maybe being targeted a little bit in the game in that second half?
Yeah, very much so. I thought even first half there was a couple of long diagonal passes to use El Ghazi's physicality against him. And again, you know, a similar situation here is like a soft cross to allow El Ghazi to, run and jump him. He did use his body well, Roberts. However, the physical presence at some point is always going to pay off, and happens here. Like, little chip, little soft cross, headed back, creates another opportunity. But what that also created was just like an atmosphere in the crowd, and the crowd started to get behind Cardiff. And at that point, I actually thought they were going to maybe score, just because of the volume of 2v1s at the second post and so on. But what just totally changed the game then was these 2 instances. One, the counter-attack, and it's brilliant from Hirakawa. You watch him first pull out wide, and what that does is as he pulls out wide, it takes O'Dowda towards him, and as he gets the ball and O'Dowda steps towards him, he uses it, the momentum, comes back inside, and there's a brilliant strike and an unbelievable save from the goalkeeper to push it around the post. But this was the one instance that then just changed the whole game, because from that we get this.
What a magic goal it was as well. I mean, not only the ball, but the finish from Jason Knight,
Yeah,
superb.
absolutely.
Captain's finish.
It was. He's great in the air, but it's all made by the ball. You know, the trajectory of the ball and the pace takes the keeper out of the equation. You see there, Sinclair Armstrong's in offside position, but Jason Knight is not, and he comes onto it perfectly. And this takes a goalkeeper. He might be on his front foot. He cannot come for it, and he's 8 yards out when he heads that in. But it's just like go and head it in the back of the net. You know, he doesn't have to think about anything else except getting a really good contact, heads it down. And he deserves that, Jason. I thought he was our best player today, in his all honesty. It wasn't just about his goal, his work ethic has been absolutely outstanding. And he looked like he'd played the captain's part on this occasion. And then it was City. You know, they got in some good areas. You know, Anis has been terrific in the box. Just loses his feet at a vital moment here. They win the ball back at Robertson. He just clips this to the far post. And again, you know, Sam Bell, he gets in front of O'Dowda, but maybe just needs to hold back. You know, when you're... as a striker, what you do, you just wait, and you wait for the ball to come onto you. What you want it to do is go above the defender. You know, if it's being rifled across the 6-yard box, then yes. But the only pass that Roberts can play is a little chip to the back post. So all he has to do is pin himself on the defender and come above him. But then Cardiff got this opportunity, and it wasn't any surprise it was Aaron Ramsey who instigated it. Yeah. His pass into Ashford is really important because he gets in front. I think it's Max Bird who was just suffering. Naki Wells who's trying to get back in there. But the pass into Ashford says to Ashford, just go and put me in the box first time. He doesn't have to check. And Salek, who's a handful up front, does well to stick it in the far post. In
amongst our angst in the studio and probably the frustration in the away end, I mean, Lewis, you were sort of level-headed enough on commentary to say it's such an impressive goal. But could Bristol City be doing more defensively here?
Well, I thought it was just before then. There was a good 5-10 minute spell where they had loads and loads of possession around Bristol City's box, and like we were saying in commentary, at some point someone with Colwell and Ramsey's ability are going to make something happen. So I felt there just should have been more pressure on the ball at some point. And then the key part to that, because City were so comfortable defending, Leroy touched on it after the game, that when they then break, they need to make it count. In that situation there, you know, maybe a shot, maybe a pullback for your teammate. But on many occasions, Bristol City were clearing crosses and then just, you know, lashing at the ball, clearing it, rather than having a little bit of composure, playing it up to us and making a pass to then counter to create more situations like that.
Yeah. And we'll go back to that chance now for Naki Wells at the end, Leroy. What is it about Yu Hirakawa's game that, I mean, the ball sort of is glued to his feet at times. He seems like one of the players on the pitch now that you kind of trust not to really lose possession in those attacking moves.
Wherever he's on the pitch, and he's picking it on the left, he seems to make the right decisions. You know, whether he's on the right or he's on the left, he seems to be aware of what's going on around him when he's dribbling. He's a heads-up dribbler, and I love that. You get heads-down dribblers, don't know what's going on, they can't find a pass. But as soon as he drags players in towards him, he'll give it, he'll release it at the right time. And you saw on that occasion, when he's given it to Naki, he's continued his run because Gutas has gone to ground, and he's just looking for the little tap. He's such an intelligent footballer. And I know they've been talking about his levels of fitness in terms of, he's had a long season before he came to City, but I just want him to play. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think, you're going down the line towards the end of the season. He made such an impact. You know, obviously the lads are suffering physically, and to have someone like him on the bench, I just want him to play because he will run in behind when required. He's got the athletic ability to do that. He will dribble when you need to do it. He can do that as well. And I know Scott is brilliant on set pieces, but I don't think Scott's got that ability to run in behind and to dribble to the effect that you does. And for defenders, he's a nightmare to play against, Lewis, isn't he?
Well, what I love about him is his first thought is to go forward. His first thought is to make something happen, right? But then his decision making is he'll read off of you. So if you're showing him inside, he'll take the inside and he'll go and shoot like that. If you show him down the line, he'll take it down the line. He'll either, play a nice firm ball across the box, or he'll chip it to the second post. His decision making in those areas is really good. I'm surprised he hasn't got more goals and more assists, really. Like Mehmeti, but I just think he's somebody who gets the fans on the edge of their seat. In the first half, that's what we were crying out for, that type of thing to happen more often than not.
And what is stopping City getting over the line? I mean, talk already on X and across social media is game management. Is that's lacking at the moment?
Well, it wasn't lacking against Stoke. They managed the game brilliantly, but it was a different problem today because you had Aaron Ramsey, and believe me, when someone of that stature comes on, although he can't run, you saw him all around the pitch, all of a sudden getting on the ball and linking the first pass. You know, although we were talking about, you know, these pass before the pass for the goal, what he did, around their 18-yard box, he was getting on the ball and finding. The first thing he did was get it and just find the fullback, find the spare man. And all of a sudden, when that ball's on his way to him, you've got Cardiff players running forward. Whereas before he was on the pitch, there's Cardiff players, you know, I think his Manswerk was on, you didn't know what they were going to do. It gives them an extra yard going forward and puts City going backwards towards their own goal as soon as that ball's on its way to him. And it's about experience and knowledge and then playing the right pass at the right time. So what's stopping City? It was that little bit of nous today, but I just thought today wasn't a game to sit back and try and keep a clean sheet. The day was to go and get the second goal. And I thought that they were open, Cardiff, legs on the counter-attack, and we didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I guess if we reflect on the league position and where everybody is at the moment, nobody really wants to take charge of those final 2 playoff spots, Lewis. So, I mean, whilst it's frustrating, we've dropped 2 points arguably there, still very much, you know, a long way to go, and there's still hope that we can continue to push on and try and put some pressure on those teams above us.
Very much. I think it's amazing they're still in that position when we've spoke about everything we just spoke about. You know, the volume of games we concede just after half-time or at the end of the game is a worry and is a concern, but there are things you can do. You know, Leroy's just alluded to a couple of them. I think it was Plymouth away. They managed the game brilliantly, took, you know, loads of time to take a throw or get the ball back in play, whereas today was more the fact of, no, go and score a second. So I think there's different ways of managing the game, and I'm sure if you would have given Liam this, you know, with this many games left, that you were going to be around the top 6, he would have taken it. So they're in a brilliant position to now kick on.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be without McCrory by the looks of things. Just, well, let's hope not. You know, I've put my medical hat on there for some reason and decided that he won't be around for a while. But if he isn't, bit of pressure on that back line, and then going into next Friday, Middlesbrough. What a game that's now teed up to be.
Well, you know, I was saying sometimes what you've got defines how you play, and it looks like City will have to play with a back 4. Absolutely fine. They'll do that. And it's easier for players to play out of position in a back 4 than it is in a back 5, I think, if you know what I mean, because players have been brought up playing 4-4-2. Going forward, you know, I just think, you know, whoever's fit, go out and just give it your all every single time. Get on the front foot, try and get some momentum going in terms of results. Interesting is that City haven't won back-to-back games this season, which I find absolutely...
Well, they have once.
They've once, once. But if they can get back-to-back wins, it'll put them in a great situation and just find a way. And I was thinking about, you know, Liam, when he makes his sub, is Sinclair Armstrong for Nahki Wells. I think at some point, and unfortunately, it might be when they're chasing the game, and maybe it shouldn't be. I'd like to see Nahki and Sinclair leading the line and Nahki playing in the 10, because Nahki's intelligent enough to play that situation, and maybe at times get 2 up front instead of like Nahki, who was with Sam Bell, who works really hard but unaccustomed. When that opportunity fell to him, you think Nahki might take that. Just to, you know, between now and the end of the season, be creative. They ain't going down, are they? Let's go for it.
And could the McCrory potential injury actually force his hand into playing more of a 4-4-2, which might mean we actually see that for the first time?
Yeah, I think even at the start of the season, you know, it was 4-3-3. It was, you know, the manager's preferred choice of system with, you know, wingers and then 1-9 and 2 10s going in and joining in, and then he went to the 2 6s. I think they've shown they can control games with the ball at times. Mine would be, how do you go and score more goals when you're on top, especially in the first half of games, and then how do you see games out? And I think that would be the key for City staying up around the top 6.
Absolutely. Well, both, thank you very much for joining us on Robins TV Extra Time. We'll see you for the Middlesbrough game, no doubt. That is it from us then on Robins TV Extra Time, as we reflected on that 1-1 draw in the 7-side derby between Bristol City and Cardiff City. A bit deflated, those travelling fans at the end, I am sure, but hopefully we can build an unbeaten run for this going into the game against Middlesbrough under the lights back at Ashton Gate next Friday. We'll see you next time.